Hey guys, this is Brent with Western Equipment, and I've got a 2021 John Deere S120 riding tractor here. I'm going to be doing a complete walk around and overview and show you everything you need to know about this mower. So let's get started. So to start, let's talk a little bit about model number. As you see here, we have an S120. Now the S100 series is new to 2021. In 2020, these were E-series mowers. Now moving on to the 120, this is going to be the indicator to the different features within this 100 series, as there are 8 different models in the 100 series, ranging from the S100 to the S110, S120, S130, S140, and then it jumps to the S160, S170, and S180. So from here, guys, let's go ahead and hop underneath the hood. Before we get underneath the hood, the first thing I want to point out is just the complete redesign of this hood. Now, if you've seen the E-Series in 2020, you'll notice this is a complete redesign with new styling. We also have a new vent here on top to allow more airflow. We've got new decals on the side, as well as the new model number. We also have the new vents here on the side and a complete redesign of the front grille and the headlights to just add to that sleek design and styling. Now, when we get underneath the hood, as you'll notice, very easy, one hand open. There are no clamps, no straps, nothing that you have to undo to get underneath this hood. So a very easy open there. Now, next thing I'd point out, guys, is just how open everything is underneath here when we're trying to get to any of those service points, do any kind of work. It's a very open area once you get that hood up and out of the way. So the first thing that we'll talk about here is our engine. Now, we do see here that we have a 22 horsepower John Deere engine, but keep in mind that even though this is branded John Deere there on the sticker, these are Briggs & Stratton engines, which you'll be able to see on a sticker over here on the side of the engine to let you know that is a Briggs & Stratton. Now, as far as service points, that's something we always like to go over here, so we'll start over here on the driver's side. First thing we have is our 30-second oil change filter here. If you haven't ever seen one of these done, I'll put a link in the description below where you can see that done on a 2020 E-Series. Just keep in mind this is going to be the same process moving to this S-Series. Now, moving over, the next couple of things that we have here, for one, is going to be our fuel filter. Moving next will be our spark plug. Now, this 22 horsepower engine is a V-twin engine, meaning that you will have those 2 spark plugs. So you have a corresponding one over here. The next thing I'd point out is your oil fill is over here on the passenger or right hand side of the tractor. So right there you'll see on the cap we do have the oil symbol. When we pull that out, this is also going to be our dipstick, so we can go ahead and check those oil levels from right here at the fill. Now, also moving back here, you'll see just how open your battery compartment is. Very easy to get to if you're going to add those things such as a trickle charger, or maybe you need to change out that battery. It's very easy to get to it right there at the back underneath the dash. Now, moving up here onto the front of the engine, this is going to be our air filter housing. As we can see, we just have 2 really easy hand screws here that we just unscrew, pop this cover off, and you'll see the air filter comes out easy just like that for changing it. Pop that new one on, pop our cover back on, and then just tighten down these hand screws to get that cover back in place. Since we've been talking about service points, the next thing that I want to point out is that you do have a service interval chart right here on the machine that's going to show you when you need to do those different maintenance points on your mower. Now, you will also have this sheet in your operator manual, but as we all know, sometimes we get these mowers home, we throw that operator manual in a drawer, we don't think about it again, and then when it comes up, just remember that you do have this chart here that you can always reference to make sure to know when to do those different services. So from here, guys, we'll go ahead and hop into the operator station, show you all of those controls and the features and functions there. So one thing I really like to point out about these tractor style mowers when you're getting onto the machine is that sometimes they're easier to get on than a zero turn, being as that you don't have that deck or platform to step over. You've got 3 points of contact here that you can get by grabbing onto the steering wheel and onto the seat, then having your foot up on that deck. Now, for some people, this may not be a big deal at all, but if you're that person that's maybe either elderly, or you've got mobility issues, or maybe you're going to have your younger kids, mowing the yard, it's going to be easier for them to get on maybe than having to jump onto that zero turn. So also, before I get on, one thing I want to point out that's new on this S series, and specifically here on the S120, is you do have this 15-inch open back 2-piece seat. Now, a couple of the benefits to having an open back seat is, for one, you're getting more ventilation. When we're mowing on those hot days, get a little more ventilation to your back to help cool you off. And then also, if this machine sits outside and you have water buildup, it's going to help it to run off and out the back of the seat. Also, guys, this is a nice covering on this seat, almost like a leather here, that's not going to allow that moisture to absorb into the seat. And then you've got these extra grooves here for a little more ventilation and water runoff as well. So now, guys, I'll go ahead and hop on. First thing I want to point out, guys, is I'm a bigger guy, about 270, and I can tell you that this seat has plenty of comfort for me. The high back is great. You'll notice here at the back that you do have those springs. They're going to add to that ride quality. So overall, this is just a very comfortable, really nice seat. The other thing that's nice about these mowers is they are adjustable fore and aft. So if you're that smaller operator that needs to be closer to the seat, you've got 5.5 inches of slide. Now, as you notice, when I've got this all the way forward, obviously this is uncomfortable. I wouldn't be driving it here, but I can raise up on this lever on the side at the back and go ahead and slide all the way back to get to where I am comfortable to drive that. So very nice, comfortable seat, adjustable, open back, great operator station. Now, moving over here to the left-hand side, first thing I would point out is going to be your deck raise and lower. One thing that I would want to point out is just the contour and the way that this handle is made. Very easy to grip, very easy to use. It's also flat and goes to the side rather than up and down, which if you're getting in over here on the driver's side, that's a nice feature so you don't snag that on your pants or hit your leg on it when you're getting in. And also, like I said, just the contour makes that grip really nice. And then also, guys, this raise and lower here is spring assisted. So it's very easy to raise and lower. Those decks made out of that 13 gauge stamped steel are a pretty heavy deck, but this, having that spring assist, makes it very easy. Once again, if you have those mobility issues or you're elderly, maybe you're those kids that are going to be doing it, very easy to raise and lower. So very nice feature there. Now, while we're looking here, the next thing I'd point out is that you do have increments all the way from 1 inch to 4 inch, and these are in 1/4 inch increments, giving you 13 different settings that you can set this mower on to make sure to mow your yard at that height that you're looking for. Now, one of those myths that's out there is that these don't actually correspond to 1 inch to 4 inch, but I can tell you that if you spend the time to level that deck, set that deck in the position that you want it to do that leveling, and make sure that that deck and those blades are reading, say, at 2.5 when you do that measurement, that will be accurate. You will be cutting at that exact height that you set it at. So those are legit. Those are going to be the measurements that you're going to use. So next thing, guys, while we're down here on the left side, I'd point out here that you do have a brake on this machine. Now, right now, this brake is pushed all the way forward, and we also have our parking brake lever in the up position, which means that this mower is set in park. But to relieve that, we're going to push in and then push down here on our lever. And then this brake acts as a true brake whenever you're using the mower. Whenever you're in those driving functions, you can use that as a actual brake. So one question that we get is, does my mower have to be in park to start it? Do I have to have my foot on the brake? How do I go about starting this machine? And both are true. You can either have your foot on the brake to start the machine, or you can have it in park. Either way, we'll let you start the machine, and we'll show you a little bit more about that here in just a minute. Now, moving up here on the dash, the next thing that I'd point out is we do have our 1 lever choke and throttle here. On some machines, you're going to have a second lever here that you're going to use to put this machine in choke. But if you'll notice here on your decal, at the very top, you have that choke symbol there. So once we go up and we're at the top of our throttle, you can feel it get a little stiff there. If we go ahead and go past that, it'll put it into choke. And then once we let go, that is spring assisted. It'll bring that back down into full throttle. So if I was going to start this mower, I would go ahead and put this up into choke. I'd have my foot down there on the brake, or be in park. And then once we let go, that is spring assisted. It'll bring that back down into full throttle. So if I was going to start this mower, I would go ahead and put this up into choke. I'd have my foot down there on the brake or be in park. And then once we let go, that is spring assisted. It'll bring that back down into full throttle. So if I was going to start this mower, I would have my foot down there on the brake or be in park. then I can go and adjust my throttle to where I need to be at. Now, like we talked about before, if we have our brake, our parking brake off, and we don't have our foot on the brake, and we go to start that mower, nothing's gonna happen. But once again, if we put our foot on the brake, then we can go ahead and start the machine. So now the next thing I'd point out, guys, right below that is gonna be this yellow button. This is gonna be our rear implement option button. Now what this is used for, this is a safety feature on these mowers for whenever we need to mow in reverse. If you're gonna need to mow in reverse, you're getting in those tight spots, you need to back up and catch a spot. First thing that you need to do when you have the mower engaged, if you need to mow in reverse, is you're gonna need to push this button and then push your rear pedal so you can start going in reverse. And once you get going in reverse, you can let off of this button and that mower will continue to run. Now, if you're going along and you're mowing and you try to just hit that reverse button to mow in reverse without hitting this button first, it will kill that mower deck, and this is a safety feature that's on these mowers. So just know that when you're mowing in reverse, you do need to keep in mind to use your rear implement option button. Now, next thing that we point out, guys, and this is a really nice feature on these mowers that they have changed in 2021, is you'll notice this fuel symbol there right above our hour meter. And in 2021, they've added an electronic fuel gauge that you can see once we turn the switch on, it activates, it'll fill that bar up, and then it'll show you exactly how much fuel you have on this mower. Now before, this was a manual gauge, float gauge that was right here in this spot, and they've changed that just to make that easier to see when you're going throughout the day, seeing how much fuel you have in these mowers right there on your dash, more of like an automotive feature. And then also, one thing that I always like to point out, guys, just a cool little feature, is they have this sticker here that's showing you that these are built in Greenville, Tennessee, right here in the United States. Some people really like that. That way, you know, you're reassured that this machine was made here. You have a sticker there. And they also remind you right here on the dash, right there by your key switch, once again, built in the USA. So really cool feature there as well. Now, last thing over here on the left-hand side that we point out is going to be our PTO engagement or our mower engagement. On the S120, this is still a manual feature. So to turn that mower on, you would raise this lever up. That's going to turn those blades on. It's just a cable system that's going down below to your deck and tightening up that pulley to engage those blades. And then to disengage, we would just bring down into this position. Now, a couple of things I like to point out is we do have a yellow handle here on our mower engagement, and the button for our rear implement option is yellow. That way you can tie those two things together and know that both of these functions here are going to be for your mower. And then also you have orange on your throttle and orange on your park brake. That way you know that both of these functions here are going to be for your driving mechanism. So from here, guys, we'll go ahead and move to the right-hand side and show you the features and functions over here. On the right-hand side here, guys, we just have a couple of controls to go over here at the key switch. The only thing that I'd say about it is just keep in mind that you do have a headlight position here. So once you turn the machine on and you turn back into that headlight position, you will be able to turn those on to use that for maybe that night mowing or whatever you're doing, but you do have that option. Now, next below that, on the S120, starting at the S120, we have a standard cruise control feature here. And so moving up from the S120 all the way to the S180, you will have that cruise control as a standard feature, but it can be added to either the S100 or S110 now that both of those models do have the hydrostatic transmission. So to engage that, be a lot like whenever you're driving your car. You're just going to go ahead and push in on that accelerator pedal, find that speed that you want to be at, raise up, and that's going to lock that in so that you can stay at that speed for when you're making those long passes or maybe those long circles. This is going to be great if you know you have an acre or more to mow. Very nice to have to reduce that fatigue. Now, to let that off, just like on your car, we're just going to reach over, hit our brake. That'll relieve that and also drop your switch down. So just very automotive feature there on that cruise control. Now from here, guys, since we're talking about our pedals, we talked about that this is a hydrostatic transmission and we have the 2-pedal system here. Very easy, labeled forward and reverse. So you'll be able to leave your heel here on the base and push those pedals to either go in, forward, and reverse. So I'll go ahead and start up the machine here. Lower that speed down. Now to go in forward here, just push our forward pedal, and then to go in reverse, we just push in reverse, and it's as simple as that to operate. So we'll go ahead and just kill that there. So very easy operation when you're needing to run this mower, forward, reverse pedal, nothing to remember on shifting gears, nothing to change there, just adjusting our throttle and pushing our pedals there. So moving back, guys, the next thing is we do have a covered storage compartment here. This is going to be great for, say, your keys or your phone or your wallet. Be able to cover that up, keep any of that grass or dirt and debris off of those items. So a nice feature there. And then also we have a standard cup holder here right behind that storage panel. So from here, guys, we'll go ahead and move to the rear of the mower. So at the rear here, guys, first thing that we'll talk about is going to be underneath the seat. We do have a seat switch on this model. So this is a safety feature that is going to require you to have an operator in the seat to run this mower. You know, once you get it running, if you happen to get up off of the seat, it is going to kill the mower, just as a safety feature to make sure this machine isn't running without an operator in it. Now moving back, the next thing we'll talk about here is we do have our 1 3/4 inch opening here on our fuel tank. It's also got a tethered lid here. It's going to allow you to not lose that lid. You'll also notice that there's plenty of opening here. If you have a little bit of spillage and you're putting that gas in, have some spillage, you do have an opening where that will run out. And then just keep in mind, this is a 2.4 gallon fuel tank, so you should have plenty of fuel to do whatever those things are that you need to do with your machine. Now moving back, the next thing we have here is these 2 black circles. These are going to be our cargo mount system. So this is going to be the system that John Deere uses to do those things, to install such things as your bagger kit, maybe that weather enclosure, sun canopy. You're also going to have 2 corresponding holes here in the front that are a part of that cargo mount system. So just keep in mind of all the attachments and things that you can use on this mower. I'll also leave a link in the description below where you can check those out if you think you need that canopy or bagger system. The next thing we've got here, now this is something that we hope that you never have to use, but it's something you definitely need to know is here. This is going to be our transaxle release lever. So right now we have it pushed in, and it shows here on the sticker that when it's pushed in, you can be on the tractor and driving it. So this is what's going to engage your transaxle. Now, if you have those things happen, maybe we run out of fuel, we get a flat tire, we need to push this machine and get it out of the position that it's in, we can simply pull out on this lever, relieve our parking brake, and then you can push this machine freely to get it out of wherever it's at. And then to go back into driving, we just need to make sure that we push that lever back in. Now, next thing below here is going to be our rear hitch. So this is going to be great for those things. There are many different pull type attachments that you can use with these tractors, which is a great feature on riding tractor models. You can use such things as, you know, a pull behind spreader, pull behind sprayer, maybe that thatcher, all different types of attachments to go to the rear of this mower. Once again, guys, make sure to check out that link in the description below where you can check out all the different attachments to get for this mower. So from here, guys, let's go ahead and move up, talk about the deck. On the deck here, guys, the first thing that we talk about is this is a 42-inch edge cutting system mower deck. So with the 42-inch, this will be a 2-blade system. Now in the S100 series, once you move up to the S140, you can get into that 48-inch, which would be a 3-blade system. And if you go all the way to the S180, you can get into the 54-inch deck. But for the S120, the only deck option you have is going to be this 42-inch. So some of the features on this deck, first thing we'll point out is our spindle covers. Now these are bolt-on some models. These are flip-up, spring-loaded, but on the S100 series models, they will be bolt-on, as these are not only spindle covers, but they're also belt guides to make sure and keep that belt within those pulleys whenever you're going and using this mower deck. So you have to have these covers on when you're doing that cutting. Some guys like to remove these so it's easier to clean, but just know that in this series of mower, you have to have these on when doing that cutting. Now, another thing about these covers is we do have these openings here on the side. You'll see the same thing on the cover on the other side. And what these are for is so you can get underneath and get to the grease zerk that's on these spindles. Once again, a very important part to the maintenance and the life of this mower is to making sure and keeping those spindles greased, keeping that moisture purged from getting inside that spindle and causing you rust and other damage. So very important that we're taking care, leaving these covers on and greasing those spindles. Now, next thing I'd point out is we do have this spring-assisted chute here. That's going to be a nice safety feature, keeping that debris blowing out to where it needs to go, not blowing up onto you, but it's also spring-loaded. If you happen to hit or run into something, it'll flip up and flip right back down. Moving forward, next thing that we have here is going to be our anti-scalping wheels. Now, these are adjustable. You're going to have multiple holes here on the back side where you can adjust these either up or down. So in the position that it's at right now, it's in the top position. This is going to allow you to cut at the lowest setting. If you're going to cut at a higher setting, you'll want to move those down. The main thing that you want to keep in mind with these wheels is you want to have them between 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch off of the ground. That way when you're mowing, these aren't spinning and making contact with the ground, because you only want these to work when you're in those uneven areas to make sure that you're not scalping your yard. So just make sure to get those adjusted to the place that you need them for the height that you're going to mow at. The next thing that we'll talk about is our leveling system. Right here you'll see that these are our deck hangers. This is also where you can go to remove this deck by removing these hangers, but this is also going to be your leveling system. You have another one here at the front that's tied to this rod, and this is where you'll do your level adjustments to either front to rear or side to side. Now, one thing that I would say about this, guys, is once you get one of these mowers and get them home, is to definitely go ahead and check the levelness of this deck. So you may want to go ahead and buy a deck leveling gauge and check these, because I have seen these go from the dealership or from the box store to someone's home, and this leveling has not been done. Now, what this will cause is this will cause uneven cutting. You won't be happy with the cut quality of your mower. You'll think that something's wrong with it when it could be something as easy as this being unlevel. So definitely first thing you do when you get this home, bust out that leveling gauge, check this out. And I've got multiple videos that you can check out on the channel of how to level these decks. So definitely check that out before you go to cut with this for the first time. Now, over on the other side, like we talked about, the only things that you'll see for one is going to be another spindle cover. Again, it'll have that notch. It'll be bolt on. We have to have that on. And then you'll also have a washout port on that side that's going to help you to allow to clean this deck out whenever you get done cutting. Let's move to the front, show you a few service points there. Lastly, guys, here at the front, just a few service points that you want to keep in mind, as these are going to be crucial to the life of your mower, is that you do have 5 grease points. You're going to have one here on each wheel. You'll have one here on each spindle, and then one also right here in the middle. So you want to keep in mind that whenever we're using these mowers, we're going over maybe that rough terrain or just using it in general, the brunt of your force is going to take place here at the front. So we want to make sure and keep these greased, keep the life of this mower up to par. So guys, after watching this video, I hope this helped you out. If it did, we just ask you to please hit that like button and also give us a subscribe, as that helps us out as well. And also, guys, keep in mind that if you have any parts needs for this mower or any attachment needs, to make sure to check out that link in the description below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Everything about this mower, let's do it one more time. It's that inflection deal that I always get mixed up there. So on the right side, on the right side. So. Stop saying so. Those different things happens right here at the front. So you want to make sure.
Get that. Could you try again?
What was that?
Huh? Talking to me, Siri. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and go buy your parts at west-equip.com/parts.